Hello, my name is Dr. George Mochocki. Welcome to Chapter 10, Motivation and Team Building. This is part of a series I'm doing for Introduction to Business and overview for people to understand how all parts of businesses function. Okay, so let's go into motivation. In any kind of business, when you read the chapter, and this is basically in conjunction with McGraw-Hill textbook and Connect, when you read the chapter, when they talk about motivation, they're basically looking at motivation from from an employee's perspective. That's how you're looking at it. But look at the same concepts. Where you can look at Maslow, or Herzberger, and all the other ones, equity theory and everything else. The same rationale, the same concepts you'd be utilizing to motivate individuals, customers to come and buy your products and goods. Remember, you're going to be doing a feasibility study in this course on who are my customers, how do I get on the market, what are ways that they're getting information to them, and so you have to start thinking about this. Those are all motivation triggers. So when a customer is going someplace else or an employee, he's at work, you have safety signs. Think safety, no accidents, we're quality insurance. All those are motivational triggers embedded within the environment that you as a business owner, that most businesses have within their processes, within their layout, within their structure, within their culture. Okay, so that's all part of motivation. How a business operates, you got to motivate people to do their work, you got to motivate customers to come and buy, and you have to motivate everybody else. So motivation is a big a big concept that we should understand. Okay, so when I look at motivation, most of motivations are basically by triggers. We want something, we reward something, or we're afraid of not getting punished for something. So you have two types of motivation that the author talks about. He talks about intrinsic, what's inside. This is basically the real motivating thing of anything else is intrinsic. And then you have extrinsic, pat on the back, recognition, people like me, or I get a reward, I get a pay. Those are all outside. And you're going to find out you're going to have between different theorists different triggers that's going to happen. Now, the first one is when we're going to talk about the scientific method. The scientific method for motivation, basically, for lack of better words, is they looked at all people. Frederick Taylor, he had a time motion study, rules and procedures, Gary chart. So they're basically looking at the individual as a machine. I give them certain triggers, they'll do the work. They're not looking at feelings, emotions, that I want to be involved. They're just looking at you doing a task to me, just like I would be as a machine. But what happened is when you look at the Hawthorne studies, as you read the Hawthorne studies basically took it another one. They changed the lighting at the Hawthorne plant in Chicago, and they're doing a hypothesis. If we change the lighting and improve the environmental things, the employees should work better because they can see better. So when they did the hypothesis, they put the change the lights and everything else, and the employees knew they had more lights, and production went up. Any kind of hypothesis studies, you basically take away the stimuli. So they put the lights back at the same way they were before, and that's what test their theory, that if brighter lights, more production. When they put it back down to the dimmer lights, what they found out, production was still going up. So they say lighting wasn't it. What they basically found out is, as I involved employees within the process, with part of the process, because employees are social beings, employees want to have inputs and everything else, it opened up the door for what we call the behaviorists. And that basically opened up the whole door. People have feelings, people should be motivated differently than just other than peaceful. I'm not saying the motivation, the dollars, and external factors don't have any kind of effect on the individual, but it's not the main primary motivating drive. Okay, so that's what Taylor did, and so we still use the scientific method to make sure we know how to charge customers. It hasn't been rules and regulations and time, all those still utilizing. Now, when I look at the stress, this is I'm going to jump back to stress later on. So we talked about the Hawthorne studies with the finding. Now the behaviorals. What he basically broke it down, he says, we are people. This is just the first tier. The different cultures involved. This Maslow theory has been expanded. But for this course here, you're just getting the baseline so you understand Maslow. He looked at he basically started as a pyramid. So if I look at a pyramid, that he looked in their physiological need, not psychological needs, physiological need, food and water, then he went safety, the next thing, after I get food and water, then I'm concerned about the safety, then I start belonging, we're individuals that we're human beings, so we like to have the social impact, we like to be with people, It's a very small percentage. I don't like to be with anybody, but majority of individual, 99.99% are we strive to be acceptance, belonging. Okay, and then the same self-esteem. Now we start looking. We've got everything else under control. People like us. We're in there, and now we're basically looking at recognition and then self-accusation. I've done everything I want to do. I achieved it. My whole thing was after I left high school, not on the best terms. I basically my whole goal was to get my doctorates, which I've achieved, and that maybe it helped me along financially going forward. But that was my own personal goal. Now I've achieved that, so what do I do next? And that's where you had like the president. So you're always trying to strive in there. What you have to understand with Maslow, once you get up here, let's say you get a divorce or you lose your job, you're from the self-esteem back to the physiological. So what goes up comes down. Now you've taken Maslow and Herzberg just added on to it. Remember, in business, we don't reinvent the wheel, we make the wheel better. So now you have this theory, and it gives you the basic. And if you look at, I have to have a job, I have to have food before I start thinking about self-accusation and a pat on the back. I'm hungry. I need to live. I need shelter. So that works up. Now Maslow said you already have all these basics. He took on, Herzberg took on where Maslow ended up. Were stopped on, and he expanded on them. He broke it down, Maslow's, into several different things. He looked at job content. Basically, Maslow was always looking at the job. The job is what motivates you. We attach ourselves to our job. What do you do? I'm a lineman. I'm an electrician. I'm a plumber. I'm a doctor. I'm a marketing research analyst. All those were tied to our job. So when we lose our job, we lose our self-esteem because we don't have anything else. We're tied to what we do. So what the Herzbergs are looking at is, okay, so we're all tied to the job, but within the job you have two aspects. So he took what he called the hygiene factor, would be basically a part of Maslow's, for lack of a better word, is the safety and the physiological need. And then he added on to the motivation. He's looking at these parts here as more what are basically motivation. He's looking more at the intrinsic, not the extrinsic, the intrinsic things that are real motivators. So look at that to make sure you know the difference between what are hygiene factors and what are motivators. Okay, motivators, anything inside of the job that I feel good about myself, self-esteem, self-accusation. I can relate to the job. I felt that I did a good job, not that somebody else did, is what I felt inside. Okay, because look, you could have got a C in this class for being in the class, and if you always would get D's and F, that is a great strive. To you, that's like an A to you, understand? So when you look at motivation, you have to understand motivation. Each individual, they have different triggers, they have different levels of what they consider those triggers are worth to them. Okay, so you have that. Now McGregor's theory X and theory Y. When I look at theory X and theory Y, it's the mindset of a manager. If I think that theory X, autocratic, and I'm autocrat, all people don't like their work, I gotta force them, gotta put the whip to them all the time, tell them what to do, always watch them because they're non-trustworthy. All my policies and my processes are going to fall in line. If I think of this about like a theory X, I think about this against the same way I think about with my customers, so I'm going to have some issues on that, okay? So that's theory X. Autocratic, very, it's my way, only my way. Where you look at most managers and everything else, because the social people have different ways of being triggers. People don't like to be told, being threatened all the time. So we are more of a participative type of manager, democratic. So if I look at this, people like to come to work. People do all the job. People are motivated because of the job, because they enjoy what they do. The pay is part of it, but I treat them well and respect and motivated. But what I want you to understand is most of us operate in a theory Y area. But once in a while, some employees, they need the theory X. That's the only way it's going to motivate. I'm going to fire you. You're going to get a reduction in pay. I'm going to demote you. I don't like to work that way, but you have to go back and forth. So remember, this is the mindset. We're here, but we have to flip back and forth there. This is our primary mode of operation, but once in a while you have to be the jerk or you have to be the autocratic type of a manager to get things done. And Uchi basically takes these two and he develops them from a Japanese type of a perspective and comes in here. And then you have goal setting, is management by objectives, and that's basically more for, if I look at this, is usually what I'm utilizing management by objectives is for my managerial or staff position, not the hourly worker. Usually they have rules and procedures, they know where they're at. Supervisors formulate goals and everyone sets the goals. Really, so look at that. The author does a good job. Now let's go to expectancy theory, reinforcement theory, and equity theory. Expectancy theory and equity theory works the same way. Equity theory basically means let's go expectancy theory. When I look at how much effort I need, if I'm looking at the amount of effort, If I I talk to individuals, I talk to managers from Japan, and these are managers that are basically managing American workers. And I say, what's the difference between Japanese workers and American workers? With the expectancy theory. It says basically universal. We try to we all want the promotion, we all want the raise, we want to do better ourselves, better our family, everything else. It's the universal principles of motivation for across all cultures and disciplines. The difference between Americans is we want to know what the reward is going to be. And then I will determine the amount of effort depending on the reward. If I don't like the reward, if you're only going to give me 1%, I'll do just enough to keep me off my back. It's not a big deal. Why would I worry about it? If it's 15, 20%, if it's something I want that promotion, I want that job, I want that next level, I want that car, whatever it is, if I know what that reward is, I will work hard to strive it. Where a Japanese individual, they trust the company, they trust the organization, they trust the management, they will work hard and hopefully feel that the management or company will reward them adequately to take care of their own personal needs and satisfy what they are striving for. You see the difference? It's still the same thing. It's only I want to see what it is first to reward, and that depends how hard I'm going to work at it. So from a managerial perspective, from a business perspective, or a customer, what is the reward, the main thing that's going to bring customers to buy my product? What is the main things that my employees are going to do to motivate them to either, if my main goal is customer satisfaction, and that's what the goal is, that's how I'm going to reward them. So if they get all kind of rewards for customer satisfaction, certificates, promotion, if you did so many good things, you get so many good boys, good gals, pat on the backs. That's basically where I have to focus in on. Okay, so I have to understand what how much the reward is worth to the individual so it'll motivate them. And then the reinforcement, well, now I understand the reward. I have the positive reinforcement. I give them a pat on the back. I give them a certificate. I give them a reward. My grandson's going to not karate, Tai Fu Young or something, and they're basically, it's different. It's a Korean base, similar like judo or karate exercise. But how they reward them, they give them like stickers or on their belt. If they do something else, they take away the sticker, and that's more of a shame for the peer pressure to reward. So, and they keep on reinforcing. All right, so you have negative reinforcements as punishment. So I give something, I take something away. Extinction basically means I don't do. When I'm looking at extinction, I got a few more minutes. I'm at 12. Extinction means I don't. If I have a bully picking on me, they tell you avoid a bully and he'll quit picking on you. In reality, that doesn't really happen. But that's the same thing that happens. If I don't reward the people with positive reinforcement, then they're gonna say, "Hey, why do this? It doesn't make a difference." So I have to make sure I don't reward them. It's same with extinction. If I want something to go away, I don't reward it anymore. And a skill that I want to be reinforced, because I said they were going to do it anyway, but I don't do it. They go. It just goes. It goes past the wayside. If I look at it for motivation, McDonald's for the longest time, for the customers used to have the value meal, and he had all coupons. Hey, everyone knows we got the value meal 99¢. So they quit motivating. They quit having campaigns. They quit having everything else in the marketing. What basically happened? People stopped coming to them, and they said there's nothing new. You need that motivation to back in the individual space to remind them about that, and that's what the positive and negative reinforcements do. Job equity. I'm going to only work how hard depending on the reward, right? And now if I'm working hard and I see someone else because of political gains gets promoted because he or she's the favorite, that whole thing is going to say, hey, I've worked all this work and the rewards are not equitable to my effort. Okay, so that all ties in. Now, job enrichment and job enlargement. Now, job enrichment means I add more to the job to give me more tasks. If I want to do one task, I should do the other thing. So it gives me, I control the whole project. They say what motivates an individual, I can see the project from the beginning to the end. Now, the other one is job enlargement. And job enlargement basically will give you more aspects to do. Now, the other thing is you have job rotation. Now, job rotation means I'm moving from one job to the other job because I get bored. A lot of organizations we've learned are flat organizations, so I don't have all those levels of promotion. So what I do, I move them to different jobs or everything else. So they become as a manager or as an employee, they understand different aspects of the same position. It's not that I move to a person getting burned out. Like let's go back to the stress. A person being real stressed out. So what do? I'm going to move them to a different office. If they're still in customer service and I'm moving them from the Palatine office and throwing them into let's say the Grays Lake office or someplace down south, another office, it's still customer complaint. Nothing changes. I have to put them into the billing, or I have to put them in another aspect of the same customer service, but not the same job. That's what job rotation does. Okay. Now recognizing for work, paid, flex time, all these could be motivation. Some are benefits, some are hygiene factors, some are motivator. Paid for childcare. All these I would look as hygiene factors why people will stay with their organization. Doesn't mean they're going to work harder for you. They just stay with your organization, so I don't have that employee turnover, what costs me anything and disrupts my processes. But sometimes I may want to get rid of some employees or let them leave because they're only there for doing whatever they have to do. Okay. I took care of that. So now I have recognizing for good work. That's all that. Key production, set the rules, everything else. Global employees, when you look at high context and low context, different things for motivate. Look, if I'm looking at motivation, individual motivation, a lot of people from China, they're used to cooperative, they're used to working as a team. They don't want to be identified by themselves. Look what I did. What did the team do? So I have to bring them around. Don't worry, after you see here in the U.S. and see the money and see the other things, they basically adjust to the individual. Well, they become individualists again, so I got to bring them back into the team. But you want to have the mixture of individual rewards and basically team rewards, because team reward basically moves the individual by peer pressure. Okay, so you have global employees, different things of motivation. What makes the different motivation? Baby boomers are motivated different than Generation Y, Generation X in the workplace, Generation X and Y's, millennials in the workplace. Different motivation triggers. Look, they want different things. So let's look at Generation Y. They're basically raised by your cell phones, so they want more technology. What motivates them? Grasp new concepts. They're basically, and these are the workers that are coming into the workplace. High value and work and balance, key for job requirements, new concepts. They tend to be impatient. They tend to be skeptical and blunt and right to the point. Okay, and what are baby boomers? Baby boomers, what motivates baby boomers? They want more security, job, and everything else. But so you have a clash. Now, an organization, how do I bring people and how do I motivate? I got baby boomers, I got Generation X, Generation Y. Pretty soon we have Generation Z. Different generations, different motivation. I always have to make sure that my business, my process, everything else has all the triggers, and I understand it for different people, so I have different motivation tools and different rewards for different individuals because they need it. But they're generally all the same. I just have different rewards and different things that are more adaptive. So for Generation Y, instead of giving a reward, I'll say I'll give you what do you call it, an iTablet, an iPhone, or I'll provide smartphone as a hygiene factor. Where a baby boomer, I don't want a smartphone, give me a pen and paper. Not all, because I'm could be considered baby boomer very into technology. So okay, so this is what to do. All this is team building, and remember, when I look at team building, all these people have different ways, triggers. Now you bring them into a team, and how do I motivate them and keep the team together and use all the ways, all their strengths and everything else. So now that's what makes me strong. The cultures, the difference, the disciplines. This is what motivates. If I could understand this motivation, what you're going to find out of this chapter and any chapter you take me is there's no one way to motivate one individual. We're all unique. There's nothing. How I get motivated, me, and I'm a baby boomer. Other baby boomers, generally, we're all kind of like the same things, but I have different triggers or different extremes one way or the other. Okay, so motivation into introduction to business. This is the same thing that's going to be carried on when we do the marketing section. So again, enjoy this course. Read the chapters. Do the connect. The book is real good. Do the connect smart. Think about motivation for your feasibility. How I'm going to motivate people to read my proposal, how I'm going to motivate people to come to my business, and how I'm going to motivate people to so my new idea and venture is successful. Okay, my name is Dr. George Mochocki, and this is Introduction to Business, Chapter 10 on motivation. Employees or